is real. Piece by piece, our love for puzzles is real. Piece by piece, we compete. Jigsaw puzzle on repeat. Speed is key, gotta move fast. Put those pieces in the perfect spots. Puzzle hearts, we're in this together. Feeling the piece by piece. Our love for puzzles is real. Piece by piece, we compete. Jigsaw puzzle on repeat. Speed is key, gotta move fast. Put those pieces in their perfect spots. Adrenaline rush, hearts pounding loud. Every second counts, we gotta wow the crowd. Fingers flying, hands on fire. We're the kings and queens of this puzzling empire. Puzzled hearts, we're in this together. Filling in the pieces, bringing joy forever. Puzzled hearts will solve the mystery. Piece by piece, our love for puzzles is real. Piece by piece, our love for puzzles is real. Piece by piece, we compete. Jigsaw puzzle on repeat. Speed is key, gotta move fast. Put those pieces in a perfect spot. Adrenaline rush, hearts pounding loud. Every second counts, we gotta wow the crowd. Fingers flying, hands on fire, hands on fire. We're the kings and queens of this puzzling empire. Puzzled hearts, we're in this together. Filling in the pieces, bringing joy forever. Puzzled hearts will solve the mystery. Piece by piece, our love for puzzles is real. Piece by piece, our love for puzzles is real. Piece by piece, we compete. Jigsaw puzzle on repeat. Speed is key, gotta move fast. Put those pieces in the perfect spots. Puzzled hearts, we're in this together. Feeling the piece by piece, our love for puzzles is real. Piece by piece, we compete. Jigsaw puzzle on repeat. Speed is key, gotta move fast. Put those pieces in their perfect spots. Adrenaline rush, hearts pounding loud. Every second counts, we gotta wow the crowd. Fingers flying, hands on fire. We're the kings and queens of this puzzling empire. Puzzled hearts, we're in this together. Filling in the pieces, bringing joy forever. Puzzled hearts will solve the mystery. Piece by piece, our love for puzzles is real. Piece by piece, our love for puzzles is real.
Hi, Fuji. How are you? Hello, everyone, and welcome to the competition. Lena, who's joining us, is just going to be there in 5 minutes, but we can already get started. So, how's your training for the Worlds going?
I'm doing okay-ish. Um, yeah, I guess like everybody else, I'm doing 3 puzzles a day if I can, or if I have the time. And then yeah, basically just trying to make as much time for my puzzling as possible.
I wish I had time for 3 puzzles per day. I think I'm getting about 3 puzzles per week, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm very envious of people like Hannah and Ellen who are like every day posting like 3 or 4 puzzles. But yeah, I also think especially the faster people, they can do like 2 puzzles at the time that I can do one. So maybe that also has something to do with it.
Yeah, exactly. Whoever is pretty fast, then they have the chance to like do more in less time. But yeah, I mostly basically just stay up very late. And that's basically my solution. And then also get to practice in like terrible lighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you in a group that's puzzling at 9 o'clock at night in Valladolid?
No, I'm actually I think on at 5-ish, like sometime around late afternoon. We're in the same group actually. I checked it out.
Oh yeah, so for individuals we're in the same one in the afternoon, but or afternoon evening, kind of like around 6 o'clock, I think. I'm in pairs at 9 o'clock.
I can't remember at all, to be honest. Like I checked it out and I was like very, very excited. And then like with every single number, it just fell out of my head. I
Yeah.
have it in my calendar. I will see it when I get there.
But I think I'm having good practice because when I Monday to Wednesday, I can only I come home usually around 8 o'clock from work, and then I do tend to start a puzzle around 9-ish. So I think I have some experience there. So I see Lena has joined us. Welcome, Lena. You made it. Yeah. How's your giant puzzle coming along?
I did not quite finish the first 4,500 pieces yet, but it's getting there.
Mm-hmm. How are you storing it?
I'm breaking it up into smaller pieces that fit on a paper A4 size. So like, yeah, just normal paper. And then I'm gluing the smaller sections directly onto the paper so
Okay.
that they don't move around. Yeah.
Wow. So it's in total it's an 18,000 piece puzzle, and then
Yes.
but each section is 4,500.
Yes.
Okay, and then doing smaller sections. Okay, that's an interesting way of doing it. I haven't done such a big one yet, so yeah, I'm interested to know ways to tackle that. What's the best way to tackle that over a longer period and also keep it yeah, safe and secure until you need to attach those sections again.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have any experience with putting it together at the end, but storing the smaller sections like that works really well. Yeah.
I saw that Juju from France, so the 8-year-old boy from France who's doing the 40,000 Disney collection. Whenever he finishes a section, he and his mum, so each section is 4,000 pieces. They do break it up into A4 sized pieces and then kind of stack them together and put them into a box until the end. Which
Yeah, I mean, my one is an older Ravensburger, so it doesn't hold together quite as nicely as the newer ones. So I have to glue it, but yeah.
Okay, and what do you use for glue?
I got a cheap puzzle glue off of Amazon.
Okay.
So nothing special.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, so I see in the comments that some people who are not participating in the competition are going to be speed puzzling along with us. I think I think Nana did that last week. So she has a puzzle ready, and maybe some others are going to do that too. So when I do the countdown, they're going to join as well. All right, so I think we're going to be ready to be starting shortly. I'm just going to browse the comments and see if we're ready for the competition.
Mona is having sound issues. She's writing in the chat, but I will just write whatever instructions you are saying into the chat as well. So that is going to make it easier.
Okay. Okay, yeah, so a lot of comments already in the chat on YouTube. So thanks to everyone who's joining us. We also have some Americans tuning in for the first time. Somebody asked, "What is this great song?" So the introduction song that we play before the competition, it's an AI generated song. My husband asked to the program to make a song about speed puzzling, and it chucked out a few options, and that's one of them that we liked.
You are going to have to upload that separately onto the Speed Puzzle channel and just have like the song available for people to listen, because I actually also got messenger messages in private asking like what it is.
Okay, yeah, so I'm seeing as well that somebody can't hear me, but I just did check, my husband just checked the settings as well, and apparently the settings are all fine from our end. Okay, yes, and if you are so those who are the participants, if your name doesn't match what you registered with, you can just write a comment in the chat as well. Also, if you are using a second device, we have 70 people connected, which sounds like that's everyone. All right, so you may go ahead and unwrap the puzzle.
I recognize this puzzle.
Yeah, so there's also some very thick plastic stickers on there. So please go ahead and remove those as well. So you may use a scissor or a knife, whatever you prefer. I found that they weren't so good to peel off like you can on the Ravensburger ones. So you might need something stronger than a fingernail. So yes, Johanna, Voria, you can unwrap your puzzle now. So unwrap the puzzle and also remove the plastic stickers. Now, as you are looking at the top image, you'll notice that there is some text on the image. There's the logo. So some of the image is obscured. If you want to use the full image, there is, after you open the box, please keep in mind there is a poster inside the box, so you can pull that out at that point. If you try to use the box image, you will notice at some point that you can't. You will have pieces that you won't be able to place from the image. Okay, so everyone needs to have the box unwrapped and plastic stickers removed. So someone said they'd like to hear the crowd singing the speed puzzling song at the Worlds. That would be fun. Okay, so when you have removed the wrap and the plastic stickers, place the puzzle back on the table, and then we'll get ready to count down. If you haven't already, you may write the done message in the chat so that when you're finished, you can just hit enter. And we will have 2 hours for the competition. Okay, so counting down in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So remember, there's a poster in there if you want to use the full image. So firstly, I struggled for about 15 seconds to remove the box, the lid from the box. But I have another puzzle from this brand and from this style, and somehow it's just really sticky. So I didn't notice anyone struggling. Maybe it was just myself. But the puzzle we are doing today is called Dutch Welfare State. It's a Trefl Prime, so it's in a different box shape than the typical Trefl puzzles. It's also got this soft velvet touch, so it has a different feel to the pieces, and it's also part of the UFT collection, which is the unlimited fit, which means you can also remove the edges and connect it to other puzzles from this collection. So here we have the puzzle. So you have like a crane in the top hand corner, a lot of like geometric angles, some interesting pictures here, someone being fed by a baby bottle lying on the couch with the doctor from the plague watching over, a devil in the corner, a person riding a stork, a wheelchair blazing down a slope with flames coming out behind. Some interesting details there. There is a description from the artist Mouse Bullhorse, which I will read out later. Let's check in on the participants. And tonight I'm going to start at the opposite end of the alphabet because I felt like I was kind of rushing towards the end. So instead of starting with A, we're going to start with Z for Zana.
That is very considerate of all the people that have names at the very end of the alphabet. Me with W, I can very much appreciate something like this always.
So we have Zana, and she is from Latvia. Then we have Victor from Poland, Verena from Austria, Uta from Germany, Tobias from Sweden, and Teresa from Czechia. So it looks like, everyone's just doing the standard flip. We can see Zana has pulled out the border pieces to one side, as well as Victor. Tobias has a taped off section, so that's something I need to check the measurements, and I need to start practicing on a board of that size.
Meanwhile, I can actually tell the story of this puzzle because I'm actually pretty familiar with this one, as it has been used at the Hungarian competition in June. This was the puzzle that they used for the beginner category.
Oh, really?
Yes, this was the beginner, and the advanced was the same kind of artwork and the same brand, but it was the one with the tiger.
Okay.
I also have the results. Just I was curious of like what times they had in like the beginner category. So it's really those that either haven't really puzzled before, or that was their first competition, or stuff like that. Well, the first one was 49 minutes and 43 seconds. And then second place was 1 hour and 14 minutes.
Wow, that's quite a difference.
Yeah.
But that was with the tiger. That wasn't with this image.
That was with this crane.
With a
That
crane.
was with this one. That was these times.
Yeah, I thought it would be easier than it was, but I mean, there's a lot of similar colors here, a lot of angles, and a lot of images that kind of don't make any sense. But I'm going to read what the artist says. So the piece of art depicts a colourful landscape of the Dutch welfare state. Burning roses represent the fall of social democracy. The style was inspired by ancient Japanese prints. However, instead of illustrating cranes, the artist has chose to integrate birds inhabiting the Netherlands. A big heron, so sorry, that wasn't a crane, it was a heron, holding all the money, and a stork taking care of the poor in the presence of a plague doctor. So there you go.
It is a nice interpretation. I'm a big fan of like artwork puzzles in general, not for speed puzzling, I must also say, but like for fun. I like doing art and paintings and like, yeah, I have like a whole collection of like all kinds of paintings. So it's always a very nice challenge, I think. But yeah, there's a lot of tricky parts in this puzzle, I would say. From like my experience, like I had a lot of pieces that seemed like they would go somewhere and then they belong to the other side of the picture, which I think is like something that can be tricky.
Yeah, I found that the pieces, at first I pulled out one colored section. I thought, okay, yeah, I'll do this color. But then I realized it was taking a lot longer than I expected. So we can see here that Tobias has worked on the border and has some, yes, yeah, putting together the border, whereas Victor looks like he pulled out some creamy colored pieces. But yeah, will be interesting to see I would be very interested to see where people start building.
Yeah, there's definitely different strategies that you can go along. Like definitely one is like, yeah, building the edges and trying to fill it in. And then the other is to just try and find the blocks. But because of the many similar colors, that might be a little bit tricky. It is interesting though, already the different strategies that people are using.
So here's so Sabo Henrietta, that's Henrietta from Hungary. Maybe she was at the competition, maybe she's done this one. That would be an advantage for her. Then we have Susanna from Germany and Steffi H from Germany. So we have two Steffis tonight from Germany. Yeah, so it looks like Steffi H is starting somewhere in the middle. You can see some nice piles where she sorted the colors, green, blue, black, and she's starting with a lighter color, possibly the cream or yellow. So here's Siobhan from Ireland, Sophie from Denmark, and Sana from Finland.
You're already getting some guesses for the best time or the first finisher time, which is Richard says 43 minutes, Joanna says 38. Then we have a very specific 39:30 and a 45-ish so far.
So Teresa's working on the border. Looks like she's also sorted out the greens off to one side.
I also very much like how she organized the top of the box to look at it. That's actually a new way that I haven't seen, to have like the top a little bit like sheaf on top of it.
Yeah, I think I've seen Kati Reiner do that. I think she doesn't use a box holder. She just tips it up to one side like that.
That is actually a pretty good idea. For what I have been doing when I don't have like a box holder is basically just have my water bottle in the bottom and just like hold that up. But yeah, that's actually, it might be a pretty good idea for later. I might try that. Yeah, so someone now says 50 minutes because the puzzle looks pretty difficult. I am pretty confident about a 40-ish time for like the first finisher.
Here's Rika from Finland. I saw in her story today that she's actually left-handed. That's something I hadn't noticed before. I wonder how many left-handed speed puzzles there are. If that makes a difference. Maybe it makes a difference to where you place your box and where you pull from the pile. That's something I've been focusing on. I've been thinking about recently because I feel like I have such a mess at the beginning, to think about, like, I'm a right-handed, so perhaps I should be building on the left and having my pieces on the right, that I can grab it quicker. But yeah, of course, it's different for a portrait-oriented puzzle compared to a landscape puzzle.
I'm actually also left-handed, so I can tell you that, like, I think the box placement doesn't really make a difference for me, at least. But like, if you're training for your weaker hand, so for right-handed people, if they're training for their left hand, that's usually much clumsier than our right hands, because like left-handed people live in a right-handed world, if you know what I mean. So like our right hands are a little bit more skillful. And from what I have been seeing, like for left-handed speed puzzlers, their right hand does way more than for right-handed people. Like, it's a very big generalization, but that's what I have been kind of observing.
Yeah, that would make sense, that left-handers are more often have to do things with the right hand. So I like how Patrick from Switzerland has his little name tag up there with the speed puzzle logo on there.
That's very sweet.
That's so cool. Just like for Worlds, and he's got his little mascot there. Here's Quinta from the Netherlands. Maybe, I wonder if any of the images on there make are relatable for the Dutch people. Maybe they know some of the references from this, because here I don't really understand what the references are, apart from some native birds. So Quinta's pulling out a lighter color. Is that white? Yeah, it looks like she's starting with the white. So there's white on the neck of the heron, and like the underside of the heron, as well as the stalk is mostly white. So 2 birds to work on there. So here's Olivia from Poland, Nina from Germany, and Mooney from Germany. So you can see that Nina has like the pile of green off to one side, so a bit of sorting there, and the board is completely done. Now Nina is a very fast puzzler. She was second twice in the Yukari competitions, and she also placed very highly in at the trio competition.
She also seems so organized. Like the way her puzzle is shown now is that like you have like the edge completely like empty, and then basically like it seems like it's all sorted by colors already.
Yeah, because we're at 13 minutes now. So most people are working on the border or have finished the border and starting to pull out like a color to work on. Yeah, so Nina Schicks was second in trio for the solo competition. So Mooney's pulling out the greens. Sophie is working on blues and reds. And Teresa has done a nice blue section. I'll pull up the image again so you can see a bit closer. So the thing is, there's no just like one color that's in one area, you know, like if you're doing the white, it could be white here, here, or here, or there's also green here or green on the other side. So it's a tricky one to pick which color to start with, to kind of like focus on and not get stuck on, because it could be in too many places at once. So I actually started with this light yellow creamy color here in the middle. And my time was 1 hour, 21 minutes and 50 seconds.
Yeah, it's not an easy puzzle. It's way trickier than what it looks like at first. Because I remember that when I was watching the live competition, like they opened the puzzle and I was like, wow, that's actually such a beginner friendly and like nice puzzle, and it's actually way trickier than that. And especially as you could see people working on it, that they were struggling, a lot of them. So it is tricky.
So here's Mona from Germany, Mary from Germany, and Marie from Sweden or Norway. No, sorry, that's Marie from Norway. Next up is Maria from Sweden.
The most represented country today is Germany, right? If I remember correctly.
Yes, we have 16 participants from Germany today.
It is a nice and varied participant list today, though. We have a lot of countries, including like Portugal, United Kingdom, USA.
Yeah, we also have our first participant today from Russia. So we'll get, yeah, so I'm excited that we're always adding new countries to the list.
How many participating countries have you had in total already?
I think the biggest competition we had was 25 countries, but this one I counted yesterday. We had 20 countries, so we might be at 21 or 22 by now. But yeah,
Nice.
really exciting the spread of the participants.
What's the furthest that your puzzle that the puzzle have got to?
America.
America.
Over the Atlantic. So here's Maria from Sweden. So often her cat makes an appearance at some point. There's Maria from Slovakia and Maita from Belgium. So Crew Feet says they did this puzzle in 1 hour, 53 minutes, 29 seconds.
Yeah, I think it's not uncommon to have like pretty high times with it as well. I think I also was somewhere around an hour and maybe 15, 20, something like that when I first tried. But then again, I'm also not one of the super speedy people.
Yeah, it's interesting comparing like Teresa and Sophie at the moment. I mean, Teresa is building, yeah, she's got parts of the border done, but they're not placed entirely where they belong. And then she's working on a blue section, whereas Sophie has a bigger space and has already placed everything where they roughly belong there. But I'm sure at some point we'll see that Teresa just like connects the pieces and suddenly there'll be like this big block.
All of a sudden, she does have a lot of the blue areas done already, though.
I like how Maria Ruskanova has big piles of colors. You can see she's taken that extra time. She's got the white section all pulled out, the blues and the pinks, and she's yeah, going to do it systematically. So she's done like the creamy arc in the middle, the creamy like strip in the middle, and is now working on the black section.
I'm also always so very impressed by people who get to be this organized. I'm one of the people who had to learn to embrace the chaos. Like, I never have the patience to do all the sorting. And I actually had a pairs practice with a friend who was like somewhere in the area here. And she told me at one point that like she starts sorting when she gets lost, like really, really sorting, and she gives herself that 1 minute to actually like sort out her thoughts as well, to take like a little break, give her that 1 minute that she kind of sacrifices so that she can actually pull herself together a little bit, which is a pretty good approach or a pretty good thought that I didn't think of before, which is pretty cool.
So here's Amaya from Finland, Magdalena from Germany, Magda from Poland, and Madara from Latvia. Yeah, so this one's definitely moving at a slower pace than previous ones. That at 20 minutes we just see borders and like one color being pulled out or one color being built. So here's a list from Germany, who was my teammate in Trier. There's Linda from the Netherlands and Linda from Latvia. Lenka from Slovakia. Yeah, so I like how Linda is focusing on the top section, on the pinks, and you can start to see the silhouette of the heron forming. So she's done the beak, and you can see, yeah, the nice shape. So it's nice to get an island done. Yeah, so Lenka's done the border, working her way from the outside, attaching pieces to the border as she goes. But she's also got a lot of pieces placed all over in the middle, but it looks very intentionally. It doesn't look like those are pieces that she's just grabbed to start building, but looks like she's doing the pick and place method.
Yeah, it looks pretty much like that. There is a system to it. That can also be a pretty good strategy. But for me, at least, it only works if I have the edges. That's the only way that I can actually tell where something is, because otherwise I have no idea how big the image will be in the end. I always have a very hard time judging that. In the meantime, we got a question on YouTube, which is, how do you choose puzzles for the Jigsaw Jams, Michelle?
How do I choose them? Yeah, what I like. So I think I've yeah, I try to pick puzzles that are a bit more colorful. I do want to have some challenging puzzles in there because it's easier from my side of view, my perspective, if the times are spread out a bit more. Of course, we had some really fast puzzles recently, and you can see that like it's really hard to keep track of the finishes. But generally, it should be a puzzle that I could sell later on in my shop and that people would be happy to have in their collection. But of course, it's not always going to suit. I know some people sold their stitch puzzle straight afterwards. Some of the Finnish people went to a puzzle swap and sold their stitch puzzle immediately. They didn't want to ever do it again. Yeah. But yeah, so my goal from the beginning was to use a range of European brands, not just Ravensburger. There will always be Ravensburger mixed in there as well, but I think there's so many local companies, there's so many French and German brands, and I'm getting to know some of the other countries as well that I think we should also highlight them. Poland also has some really great puzzle brands, and of course, the less known the brand is, the more likely it is that people have a first true attempt and that we have a bit more of a leveler playing field. So yeah, that's also what I'm thinking of. What's also really important to me is it shouldn't be a puzzle that everybody already knows. So I'm very active on Instagram and I see what kind of puzzles people are posting, and if I've seen a puzzle 10 times, it's not generally one I'm going to pick. So hope that answers your question.
That was a pretty thorough answer. I actually had, you were mentioning that people were giving away the stitch puzzle, as soon as they were done with it. With this puzzle as well, the way I got my copy was that literally one of the competitors were walking out of the competition field and they were like, I don't want to see this anymore. Do you want it? And that's how I have my copy.
Well, I really like it from the look of it. Like it's different. You can look at a puzzle and enjoy the colors. Like I thought, it's kind of a fun puzzle because of all the colors and the interesting images, the interesting characters on there. But for example, my daughter tried to do it the next day and she gave up halfway. She just said, I don't want to do this puzzle. Yeah. So this one's definitely more on the challenging side. And so, of course, I also try to have a range of difficulties as well. So on the screen, we have Laura from the UK. We have Christian from Poland, Kirsty from Finland, Kirsten from Germany, Julia from Austria, and Johanna from Finland. So yeah, some seem to be using the poster. They've got that next to them. Yeah, because at some point you realize, like, I had picked up a piece and there was somebody on a couch, and I was like, I don't see anybody on a couch. I was like, am I going mad? Or like, why don't I see this? And then I realized, oh, it's probably behind the text. It's probably behind the orange design. Generally, I don't use posters. What? Rika, you posted that you're done. I think you must have accidentally pressed something there. Okay, so let's see how everybody else is going.
Yeah, Rika has accidentally sent it.
Okay. I would be very impressed if she was finished now. So we've gone from Z, we're now up to the J's, and we're at 26 minutes. So we also have Jessie from Portugal, Jessica from the USA, and Jenny from Finland, Inka from Finland, and Inga from the Netherlands. So you can see Inga has also gone for the pink section at the top and has got the silhouette of the bird. Looks like Jessie has gone for the creamy coloured strip in the middle, which Christian is also working on too, but not in its place, just off to the side. And yeah, and so Inka has also done quite a big section in the middle. So everyone's saying that, wow, 26 minutes for finishing this one would be epic.
That would have been really epic. In the meantime, I'm actually browsing through people, the ones that you are not pinning onto the screen, and Tobias is doing very impressive progress in the meantime. He's got most of the green sections done already, and the picture is actually starting to take shape.
So we also have Yeva from Latvia, Graham from the UK, Freya from Denmark, and Fenna from Belgium. Yeah, so it's interesting. Everyone's starting in different sections. You know, often with puzzles, we kind of see people following the same pattern, and maybe one or two people do something completely different. And here we see some starting with pink, some with yellow, some have got islands in the middle, others are building off the edges, and others are just placing pieces anywhere where they belong. So I think, yeah, this one, it's kind of interesting. It's kind of like Misfit Toys. It's one that's breaking the mold. It's not the typical speed puzzle, and I think this could really shake up the rankings a bit for this one.
Yeah, there might be some unexpected finishers. But it also might be like the difference with like what color they pick is also might be the difference that there's like the very distinct colors, which is the blue, the pink, the green, the yellow, but they are all in relatively the same proportion, I would say, or they are like in a different layout, so they might be choosing it depending on how chaotic they look, or just personal preference. Like I, for example, I always leave yellow for the very end because I have a very difficult time like telling the difference between shades of yellow for some reason, so I always pick like whatever color I can for last. Yeah, so it might be personal preference in this case as well. But yeah, it's it's a tricky puzzle, that's for sure.
Yeah, so we're just coming up to the 30-minute mark. And I've been getting some tips from Lena that people in the A's at the beginning of the alphabet are making a lot of progress. So we're at E for Eric now. E for Eric from the Netherlands, Emilia from Finland, Ekaterina from Russia, and Dietmar from Germany. So I like how, yeah, Eric's working on the greens and yeah, has done some of the stalk. So let's check out these speedsters at the beginning of the alphabet. Because there are a lot of people with A, B, and C names. Okay, let's check out Danica from the Netherlands, Claudia from Germany, Chiara from Italy, Birgit from Germany, Bibi from Denmark, and Barbara from Austria. So Danica won the pairs competition on Sunday. Oh, we see Claudia has this nice green triangle in the middle. Oh, and Chiara's done, yeah, more than half.
Pretty much the top is done, except for the bird.
So Birgit is participating in her first competition. She's from the German Puzzle Association, the Deutsche Puzzleverein. So happy for her to join us today. And there we see it. Arcadius is flying ahead, only has gaps to fill in. He's got huge green chunk done, the yellow strip in the middle, the pink at the top, the wheelchair with the flames, the red section at the bottom. He's literally just got some blue pieces, maybe let's say less than 100 pieces to go of blues and pinks. So looks like he's got the advantage tonight.
Now that I see, because I have a couple of people pinned on my screen, basically I would compare him and Tobias at the moment.
Okay, so we also have Ireland from Argentina, Astrid from Denmark on the screen, and Annelies from Belgium, and Arcadius from Poland. So Poland has so many strong participants. We'll have to check in on Victor as well. I'm sure he's doing really well. I'm sure his hands are flying all over the place. So
it's actually very interesting. I have just pinned Andrea and Chiara next to each other, and they basically do almost exactly the same order of filling in the puzzle. They're almost exactly at the same stage, and they're basically working on the same areas, which is pretty interesting.
So we have Anna from Sweden, Andrea from the US, and Alex is actually Johanna from Germany. So Johanna is 15 years old, and she was in our trio competition, and she got the bug and wanted to participate in an online competition as well. So really happy to have her join us. So Andrea also making really good progress. Okay, so
that is pretty much the case, that once you actually go to a live competition, at least it was the same with me, that basically like you go to one live competition and you get the taste of it and it's pretty hard to get rid of it. So that's when you get like really excited about actually participating online as well, I think.
Yeah, she was so excited. She came up to me afterwards and she was just so excited and said, "Oh, if you have any more puzzles, I'd love to participate." And yeah, I think Yeah, she's got the bug that we all have now.
Very good.
So the last participant at the very front of the pack is at the very front of the alphabet, Amy, joining us from the USA, also in her first competition. So we have 3 Americans tonight: Jessica, Andrea, and Amy. So I'll put Tobias back on the screen. So yeah, he's coming in behind Arcadius. It looks like they've done it in a similar order. They both have like the white of the heron left over.
Interesting, because like I don't know, my instinct would be to like go onto the whites pretty early on. But it seems like most people haven't.
I think it was Quinta who started with the white.
Yes.
Yeah, so here's Teresa has done the white already. Yeah, Tobias does like busy puzzles, so this one is up his alley.
It is also fun to see that Tobias has probably the WJPC table size marked on his table.
So it looks like Arcadius has a puzzle board balancing on a smaller table. You can see it kind of wobbling as he's grabbing the pieces and placing.
Yes.
So it doesn't seem to be holding him back, but that's also an option. If you don't have a table big enough, make one. So Teresa and Sophie also making good progress, but quite a way behind.
We are getting some cheers from the YouTube chat. Some are cheering for Jessica, Ayelen, Andrea, Arkadiusz, Andrea again. Yes, we are getting close to 35 minutes right now. Or we're already over it.
So it looks like Inga and Christian are at a similar position, but still quite a lot of pieces to go. So Arcadius, 30-ish pieces left. Tobias, maybe 40 pieces.
Andrea, maybe 50, 60. Chiara, the same. Someone says SJ's guess is going to be very close. I have to look back what SJ said. Before 3930 was SJ's guess. Might actually be accurate. What I found very nice with these puzzles, actually, with most of these Trefl puzzles, actually, the newer ones, not the very basic version of them, but like the ones that are like a slightly higher quality, is that like the pieces have pretty nice distinct shapes. So like even if it's very similar colors, you can still go along the shape pretty well, at least in my experience. So it's a nice puzzle to work with. And with these Velvet Touch puzzles, some people were completely freaked out by it, and some found it very, very nice. That was also a pretty divisive thing from what I have experienced. I like it quite a lot, to be honest. I have, I think, 3 of this series. So
Arcadius has 3 pieces left.
just 2 and 1.
And Arcadius is done. Wow, congratulations. Just on the 40-minute mark. Well done. A new winner. We haven't had him before on the podium. Congratulations. With a very impressive win. Looks like Tobias will be second in line, but
Looks like it.
yeah, but Chiara and Andrea are also coming up in that pack.
You can already prepare in the chat. At least that's the idea that we have received before, is that if you have any question for the podium placed competitors today, you are welcome to write that in the chat and on YouTube as well. And we will try and do like a selection of them, even if not all of them, during our little chats with the podium places.
So I'll just tell you about the artist. His name is, I think, well, doesn't, yes, it's a man. Artist Maus Bulhorst, working and living in Arnhem, the Netherlands. Maus Bulhorst creates editorial illustrations for Dutch media. To him, an illustration is not a literal translation from text to image, but it creates a deeper level. He lures the viewer with bright colors, clear lines, and compositions in which the framework itself is communicative as well. But it starts just here. Patient pays off. In an exclamation mark, a question mark may be hidden. Maus provokes thought. He explores the abstraction of the figurative. How far can he diverge from natural forms and still maintain a human figure instead of a batch of blocks? Perhaps inspired by his works, one may pass a crane, but instead see an arm with a gripping claw. So I find often these artistic descriptions too abstract.
I think you have to be like very much into art to actually be able to understand most of it. At least that's my experience with these descriptions. There was a question on YouTube of what Arkadiusz's time exactly was.
I can't say that. I can't say that for sure. So because the timestamp that I see in the Google meeting, it only has the minute. So I see that he was done at 1940, so 7:40 p.m. When I looked at the camera, it was, so when I looked at the YouTube live stream, which has the timer running, it was 40 minutes something. But that will all be done later. So when we have, when my husband does the results, he goes through and checks the start time or exactly what second that I started the stream, the countdown, and then he can work everything off that. But that comes with the official results.
Andrea is also very close to finishing at the moment, from what I can see, and also Tobias.
Yeah, so Quinta is also making good progress, Danique as well. But yeah, so it looks like second place would be between Tobias and Andrea.
Looks like it at the moment, yes.
Lenka has also done the majority of the puzzle. You can see just a few gaps to do.
Teresa is also doing pretty good progress.
So it looks like about 15 pieces for Tobias. Andrea, bit hard to tell from the quality of the webcam, but maybe also about 15 to 20 pieces. So we have 120 people watching the live stream. Happy to have you all with us, and yeah, thank you for your comments and for yeah, joining us.
We have a pretty good audience today. Also very active in the chat, everyone. Thank you.
So I want to get a closer look at Andrea. So I'm just going to minimize the others for a moment.
Tobias has maybe about 5 pieces left. And done.
Done. Congratulations to be a second place.
Congratulations.
Very close. And Andrea just right behind.
Oops, almost the entire puzzle went with her hand. Almost done. I think 6 pieces left. And done. Congratulations on 3rd place.
Congratulations. 3rd place to Andrea from the US.
So we have our podium.
So just on the rough times that I have here in the timestamps, we have Arcadius, first place Arcadius, 40 minutes, Tobias 46 minutes, and Andrea 47.
And another reminder for those on YouTube and those who are following on YouTube, if you have any questions for those on the podium that you would like to know, feel free to add it into the chat, and we are going to use some of those for when we are chatting with our podium placed competitors.
So Victor has about 30-40 pieces left. Nina also coming up to the end, but yeah, looks like there's a still ways away before we have the next finisher. But yeah, so it's kind of open now. So now that we have the top 3, there's the rest who are coming in are all yeah, maybe 3 to 5 minutes away. We have Victor, Nina, Lenka, Janik, Kiara. Probably Inga is in that pack as well. Yeah, so Fenna was, her camera was off before, but it seems to be working again.
This is definitely a challenging puzzle. That we can see, I think, from like everyone's progress.
Yeah, so Victor, Nina, Lenka, Kiara, Janik, and Inga are all kind of in the same position. Okay, so Arcadius, may we have an interview with you?
Can you see me?
Yes, now we can. Hi,
Hi.
hi, Arcadius. Nice to see you. Well, you've been in a few competitions, but I've only ever seen your hands, so nice to see you there.
Yeah, I
So
think my 10th one.
your 10th one? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Have you done this puzzle before? Because you really
Yeah.
went ahead.
I did a small investigation because I had this puzzle in my collection, and the measurements of the box were identical. So I know it must have been something from this series, Velvet Soft Touch. I know that there are 6 images from the series, and I have one of them, so there is a pretty high probability that we'll build this one. So I wanted to try this at least 2 times, and after the first approach, I considered this puzzle very frustrating and not really easy. But after the second time, I shave off my time for about 40 minutes, and I wanted to try it once again and again and again. This was my 7th approach.
Wow. Okay.
Nice.
I did something similar to Emilia Lieberman's challenge
And
in these previous 2 or 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
what's this now? Your fastest try at the puzzle, or have you managed it quicker, like out of competition?
I broke so many records yesterday and today. My fastest 500 jigsaw puzzle was around 48 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And I was completely shocked by my time yesterday. It was 47 minutes and then 42 minutes. I didn't completely know how I cut off these 5 minutes. But I think it's all about the image. When you do this once again and you completely remember the image, it's so easy because of the vivid colors and distinctive sections. I know that it's the best to start from the green section because it is the most part of this green areas are connected. So I almost every time started from this section.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, yeah, it would be funny if it wasn't this puzzle when you had practiced this puzzle 7 times and it ended up being a different one. So, what was your impression when you saw it was this one? Were you relieved? Did you have a good laugh? What was your reaction?
Big relief because there was a small probability that a high probability that it won't be that puzzle, but at least it would be the same cut, the same series and the same brand, so I would be prepared.
Yeah, that is true. It is a big relief, though. And yes, Chiara is done in the meantime. Congratulations.
Yeah, so would you mind telling us your story a bit? How did you come to speed puzzling?
I think it was through Karen videos in 2 years ago. Then I saw World Jigsaw Puzzle Championships and saw that many YouTubers, puzzle YouTubers, training for this competition, and I tried to solve 500 pieces, 500 piece puzzle and measure my time, and it was 1 hour and 28 minutes. So I felt that I can be pretty good at it. Of course, I built a lot of jigsaw puzzle in the past, but never below 1,000 because it didn't look interesting to me. But 500 piece puzzle are perfect for speedrunning, I think. 1,000 is too much, too long. My
Yeah,
back hurts.
it is a very typical thing, I think, for those who are like pretty good at puzzling and they puzzle for fun, that like you don't really want to do anything under 1,000 pieces because it seems too easy. And then you get into speed puzzling and then it becomes a challenge. And then
Yeah,
yes?
I also have a lot of huge jigsaw puzzle, like this Mickey the True Original from Ravensburger, this 40 100.
Mm-hmm.
It's halfway done.
Nice.
But I have no more space in my room, and I need to stop buying new puzzles. Mm, so far, my newest jigsaw puzzle are from the competition, and it should stay like that.
What I would also like to ask is like, how is speed puzzling in Poland? Like, I haven't heard much about it, or like I it hasn't been on my radar. Like, do you have competitions often? Have you been to like live competitions? Like, how is the puzzle scene in Poland?
I can't really find so much jigsaw puzzle championship in my neighborhood. Maybe in some smaller towns around Poland, but in Warsaw there was one jigsaw competition this year in March, organized mm, by magazine Przekrój, but we don't have any national championship or something like that. So Euro Jigsaw Jam was very awesome to me. I can take part in that every 2 weeks.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. It is a good opportunity. In the meantime, we have some finishers like Lenka, Danica, Inga, Teresa, and Victor. They are all done. Congratulations. So we are getting more and more finishers at the moment.
So there was some Frigi, can you have a look if there were some questions in the chat?
Yes, there were some that were directed to Arkadiusz as well. What one is, do you generally like this type of puzzle? Like if you choose it just for fun?
For fun, it would be amazing. I like illustration type of puzzles, and when colors are clear and nice and vivid, it's better than better than art puzzle or landscape. But landscapes are best for speed puzzling. I think I have an advantage in this type of images.
Yes. So then you also like these busy puzzles where there's a lot to like grab onto.
Yeah. If that puzzle from today was my first attempt, it would be not so fun. My first approach was over 2 hours, and it was back in January previous year.
Oh yeah.
But each um, the next attempt was so promising because the times cut off to 1 hour 8 minutes, then 54 minutes, then 50, then 47 and 42 and 40. I think that after third approach, the time doesn't really go faster, but but indeed in this case this rule doesn't apply.
Yes. Well, it is always interesting to see, like, the more your brain gets used to the image and you kind of learn the puzzle pieces, it does always get quicker. It's mostly, I think, mostly your hand movement that like either improves, that can still like win you some time. Then there's another question here, which I think is fun, which is it weird knowing that a lot of people are watching you puzzling? Do you get more nervous doing it, or are you unaffected by it?
I think that I adjusted to that. It's my 10th competition online, and I don't really think about it during the assembling.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something similar to meetings during my work. So maybe live events would be more stressful.
So you have not been to a live event before?
I've been 2 times already,
Okay.
but I think this stress is even motivating.
Yes. The competition pressure can be very, very useful, at least in my experience as well. Like that's the good kind of stress if you actually like what you are doing, which is the case in this in this scenario. Yes, I don't really see any more questions directed specifically at you. Michelle, do you still have any question that you would like to ask?
Not at the moment, but yeah, I'm really happy to. Oh yeah, I just have one question. What's the biggest puzzle that you've done?
The 40,000 90 years from Ravensburger, Mickey, the true original.
Wow,
How
that,
do you have enough space for it?
I won't have. I just build section by section. It's 2 bags for 4,000 each,
Mm-hmm.
and it's barely. I have barely space in the table in my dad's place.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we have also seen on the live screen that you have like a kind of flimsy table that moved every time you were moving the pieces. So yeah, you would also have like some kind of puzzle board put down on your table.
Yeah, I have something like foam board.
Mm-hmm.
It's its measurements are so that 2,000 piece puzzle fits perfectly, and I think it's great for this competition because it's enough space to spread out all the 500 pieces,
Yes.
and still have a space for the building.
all right. Well, thank you so much, Arcadius, and we'll see you at the next competition. Congratulations on an excellent result today.
Thank you.
Thank
Yes,
you.
congratulations.
So, I'm just going to repeat those who have done. We may have like a top 10 by now. First was Arcadius, second Tobias, third Andrea, fourth Chiara, fifth Lenka, sixth Donique, seventh Inga, eighth Teresa, ninth Victor, 10th Nina, 11th Christian, 12th Steffi. So we've had 12 people finish now. We're at 1 hour and 3 minutes. So let's ask Tobias to join us, our second place finisher for tonight. So congratulations, Tobias. Is your sound on? Yes.
Yes, it looks like it.
Yeah, this is your type of puzzle, isn't it?
Your microphone might actually not be enabled because we can't hear you. In the meantime, I'm going to make sure that, yes, I'm reading everyone's comments on YouTube and I'm keeping in mind your questions, so like, don't worry. And you can keep them coming. They are very, very useful. They're giving us inspiration.
Yeah, and just a reminder to those who have finished, just to make the job easier for Alena, who's working in the background. If you'd like to continue to listen to the live stream when you've finished your puzzle, please log out from the Google meeting and hop over to YouTube, and we'd love to hear your comments, just because at the moment there's a lot of people connected and still having the cameras on, and it's a bit harder for her to follow who's actually still puzzling. So just do another check with Tobias.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
There we
Sorry
go.
for that.
All right. So how did you feel when you saw this puzzle tonight?
I felt good because I know it's to my advantage. Even if it's not super fun to look at, but it's very fun to puzzle for me. I like the challenge with finding where each of these elements are placed.
Yeah. And so this was your first time to do this puzzle?
Yeah, I was very perplexed by the box because I had no idea what it could be.
So you haven't done any of this kind of Trefl puzzles
No,
before?
I haven't.
Uh-huh.
But it was a fun surprise.
And then what was your basic strategy?
I
Because
know
we
when,
follow it a little bit.
yeah, with this very flat colored pieces, just to pick one color and try to focus, because otherwise it gets pretty blurry when you look at your pile of pieces. So I started with a yellow, but I could have picked almost any color, I think. And then when you've done pretty much all of that, you pick another color and so on. Just
Yeah.
have to focus.
Yes. And then a fun question is, did it go quicker or slower than you expected it to go?
Bit quicker, but because they can be really challenging. You never know until you've really done it, even when you see the image. But it's about where I was thinking, close
And
to
do
50.
you actually keep track of your time while you are doing the puzzle, or do you just check afterwards?
I just check afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Then I'm looking for the other questions for you as well. Well, the other one, which was also pretty fun to talk about, was is it weird knowing that a lot of people are watching? Do you get nervous about competitions in general, be it live or online?
Just a little bit when you know you're in the top position, but I've done quite a lot of competitions now, so I'm getting used to it. So it's fun as well, having that pressure to just try to finish.
Are you also one of those people who actually does better in like the competition situations than in just practice?
A little bit, I think, because you really put that extra last percentage of effort in when it's competition.
Oh yeah. And as you're like nearing the end of your puzzle, like when you see that there's only like a couple of pieces left, does that like freak you out more, or does it actually make you more concentrated? Because that's also something that is always very different with people. I know some
No,
get
that's
completely
the
like
hardest part, because that's when you're almost shaking, because you know you just have to do this, but still.
oh yeah.
And I haven't taped up the table measures for worlds, but I like to have a lot of space, so it's very liberating to just ignore those this time and you just use the table as I wanted. So
Oh yeah.
that's nice.
Yeah, I can see that you have the tape on your table to like try and restrict yourself for the space, but this time you didn't use it, right?
No.
No.
Yes.
One moment, sorry.
Tobias, what is your experience with sharing tables in competitions?
Not very much. I did it in the finals in the Worlds last year, and that went okay. But it's always nice. I will try to get one of those top 8 the table. That would be nice for me to really can spread out your pieces and so on. So I prefer to have a little more space.
Yeah, that also gives like the extra motivation to be super quick, because then you get the VIP place.
Yeah.
So how are you? I mean, you were at the Worlds last year, so you have a bit of experience of how it all works and how it yeah, the experience of having a whole week of puzzling. Did you experience burnout after it? Did you, or have you ever had that experience that you were just puzzling so much or training so much that afterwards you were just exhausted?
You get very exhausted after that week of full puzzling, but the motivation never went away, not for long at least. Maybe a week or so you don't puzzle, but then you want to keep on, because I do it because I really enjoy it as well.
Yeah. And so how are you planning your week? Are you someone who takes like naps in the afternoon, or do you make sure that regardless of what happens that you're in bed at the same time every night? How do you schedule it out so that you can give your best at every competition?
We'll see now that we just got the full schedule, but I will try to rest as much as possible between competitions, because I know that you really need it, especially those last days with a lot of competitions, just after one after another. You really have to take any chance of rest that you can get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so do you tend to like only go to the dome for your competition, or do you like watch the one before or the one after, or do you just say like I'm only there for the competition, you go back to the hotel to watch the live stream?
I will watch my sister as well, but other than that, when I'm competing, we will go back to the apartment and watch on the TV instead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. So, Frigid, did you have some questions from the chat for Tobias?
I have been scanning and I haven't really seen anything else at the moment. No, nothing else. There is one question of how Quinta is going, but
she's finished already.
Finished already. Good. Yes. Apart from that, I don't see any more comments.
All right.
Yeah. Well, thanks for your time, Tobias. Well done.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. All right. So Steffi B was 12th. Then we had Linda Yukmane was 13th, Quinta 14th, Emilia 15th, Jessie 16th, Yulia H 18th, and Fenna 19th. So we are at 1 hour and 12 minutes and 19 people have finished. So
we are for place 20 now.
Yeah, so definitely a lot slower than other competitions. We've often we had like, what was it, marmalades? I think we had like 23 people finish under an hour. So this one is definitely testing people in a different way. So thanks, Andrea, for hanging about. And yeah, 3rd place tonight. But you didn't realize, did you? You were not. I see you always have your AirPods in, so you're not listening to the live stream. You're not aware of where you are compared to the others. Oh, is your microphone on?
There, sorry about that. No, I listen to music. It makes me really nervous to hear the one time I could hear the chat, and I don't want to know if anyone finished before or how many people finished, in case, I'm really not doing well. I just don't want to know. So yeah,
because I
have
noticed
my music on and I can hear just a little bit.
Because I notice in the American competitions as well, you always have something in your ear, and then it's like you finish, and then you take them out, and then they say, "Oh, you're like 1st or 2nd," and then yeah. So you just find out everything once you take them out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how was that puzzle for you tonight? Are you familiar with this brand and with this image?
I just looked at my old data. I did a Trefl a little over a year ago that was a photograph of horses, and then I did another Trefl, I think it looked in 2021, that was like a cartoon. So I haven't done any of this like brand or this line, the kind of really nice thick matte pieces, but it reminds me of a cloudberries almost. Both the design and the feel of the pieces. So I love cloudberries. So I don't know if anyone else thought that.
I don't know. familiar with the brand actually. I have never had a Cloudberries puzzle, so I don't have
Yeah.
anything to compare it to.
Yeah, they're made out of England, I think, but you can buy them on Amazon.
Yeah, probably. I'm also one of those people who has to like stop buying puzzles for a little bit so that we can actually fit into the apartment. My husband was basically saying that the only way that I can get new puzzles if I get rid of equally as many.
Yeah.
So yeah, not at the moment, but I have a long list of what brands I would still have to try out.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
how was it for you? So then this was the very first time you have met this puzzle.
Yes.
Yeah.
I really like this puzzle. This is an image I think that I do pretty well on. And I think I was listening to Tobias. Sounds like we might have tackled it in a similar way, although I started with pink, but I kind of just pick out one primary color and then move to the second color. Instead of trying to actually look at the image, I go by color, and just I find that it's easier for me to find a piece from the image on the box and just put it where it goes rather than like trying to have a bunch of the same color and fit them together. I do some people call it pick and place or dead reckoning, but I kind of just build from the image, and then the more I go, the more I can just kind of fill in the blank spots. So this was a pretty good puzzle for that because almost every piece had something recognizable on it that you could find. So it was good for that. I'm curious if that's how Tobias looks at things too.
So then you didn't fall into the trap that some other people have been complaining about before, or not complaining about, but that they have been noticing that like because of there's these blocks of colors all around the puzzle that it seems like one piece could go to like different blocks. So it's hard to like place which color block it exactly belongs to. But then for you, this was completely different.
Yeah. There were some areas too where the colors were separated by black lines, but then some horizontal lines where the pieces were not separated by a black line. I don't know if you could see that. And so you could kind of look sometimes with two colors and orient it in a couple different areas, which helped, I think, once I was thinking about that. And then some of the pieces had like a fade from one color to the other. And it was really easy then to identify when you picked up something that had a kind of a little gradient area. It was very easy to find where that went on the box and then kind of leave it in the position.
Oh yeah. And then did you do the frame first? We didn't see you do the very beginning. So like you did the frame first and then you basically based the pieces compared to like where they are in relation to the frame then.
Yeah, that's kind of my golden rule is to build the frame, and then if I set a piece down in the frame, then I don't move it because that's where it goes.
Ah, okay. That's actually very interesting.
Yeah.
It's good to hear.
Yeah. That's how my pair and my team do it also. That's kind of what we've all settled on as like a rule of if someone's thinking, rather than, I mean, you do communicate a lot, but, if someone has built something or put a few pieces there, it's because they know that that's where they're going to go, and you don't move them around and you don't clutter the image by working in the middle of the frame either. So you have a lot of pieces piled up, but that's where we use like little trays or things to build off of and then slide it into the frame.
So then you have a pretty like strict space management, so to speak, so that like you have like your arrangement outside, but whatever gets placed inside the frame, that always goes to where it goes.
Yeah. And I don't know if you saw the US pairs competition. It was the small shared table.
Yeah.
And so we had to use a lot of sorting trays.
I have actually watched it a couple of days ago.
Yeah. So my partner and I didn't have, Kelly and I didn't have anything in the frame except for where it belonged. And I think even though it was kind of a mess in the beginning, in the end, it helped because so many people were building and then having to like move pieces after that. And we did have like pieces all jumbled up over each other. But as you worked out of that pile, it just got easier and easier. And everything in that image in the frame was like set to go. And once it was there, we didn't move it.
and it kind of worked. So
That
hopefully we
is
can
very
replicate
good
that.
strategy to hear. And actually, I read it on the YouTube chat right now that Tobias says that when you describe the puzzle style on the Peace Talks podcast, a lot of it fitted with his style as well. So
Yeah.
like you are doing pretty much the same then probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
How co-
actually have some questions for you from the chat as well that came up. The first one that I spotted was a question about the world, if you're doing pairs with your daughter.
I'm not doing them with my daughter. She just started college actually yesterday was her first day, and so she's going to be going to school. But Kelly Walter, who was my partner at US Nationals, is my partner, and we're really excited. We've only puzzled together once since Nationals, and we won't see each other until until we get to Spain. But I think we'll do okay.
And do you still plan to practice when you're already in Spain, or do you just want to enjoy the competition and like kind of rest in between? Like, what is your strategy during the Worlds?
Yeah, I think Kelly and I will try to get some practice in because, like I said, we haven't seen each other, and I try not to get too nervous when I see all the videos of people practicing with their teams and their partners, because we just don't have that opportunity. But I have one race the first day, one race the second day, and then 2 races. So I think that there'll be some time to do some practice. I have a couple Ravensburgers I know are missing a piece, so I might just like cut the image off the box and put it in a bag and bring a couple to do like warm-ups. And I hope I can do be on a team to do the Guinness World Record puzzle.
Oh yeah. Do you have a selection going on for that?
There was a form that you could fill out to indicate if you were interested, and I'm not sure how they're going to pick, if they're going to do it random or just find a mix of people. But it would be fun to do.
I think it's quite hard for countries like US or Germany or Spain to pick the people for the team, because there's more than 100 people, and yeah, you have so many good puzzlers. I'll be participating on the New Zealand team, and it's easy. We only have 10 New Zealanders, so we're all going to be on the world record attempt.
Yeah,
I
actually have a copy of the puzzle, and I was gifted it as a prize last year at Worlds, and it was interesting because it wasn't wrapped and the pieces were just loose in the box. So I think I might have been gifted the puzzle that they actually did at the competition, and then maybe they didn't want to take it back. So I haven't done it yet, but I may bring it, and maybe the US people can do a warm-up practice. I don't know. It'll be hard to puzzle with. I can't imagine how you can fit that many people at a table to try to do that, because there's, I don't know, 10 at a time would be very difficult to have all your hands going.
What's the largest like team or puzzle that you've done with a group of people? How many people have you puzzled with at one time?
4. Just 4. Yeah.
Just 4. Okay.
Never.
Yeah, it is going to be pretty interesting. I have actually just received the email from like the German club. I became a member like this year, and like they are also like collecting applications, and they have like described in the email of how people are going to be selected for the team. So yeah, that's something that we're going to still have to see.
Yeah, and there's more Germans than I think any other country. Is that
There's
true?
so many of them. Yes. I'm actually, like, because I'm a Hungarian citizen, but I live in Germany, I'm going to be with the Hungarian team. I don't know how the Hungarian team is doing. I have actually not checked. I'm not sure if I will participate in the world record attempt at all. I don't know yet. So we're going to have to see then.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was still another question about jet lag. If like traveling to Spain, it actually affects you in competing, of how you like tackle jet lag. How much time difference do you have?
Yeah. Well, it's 10 o'clock in the morning here. I don't know how. Are you?
It's 8:30 now here.
Yeah. What is this the same time for you as in Valladolid? Or are you another hour off?
I always
We're-
get confused.
We're in the same time zone as Spain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
I think it's just there's so much excitement kind of leading into the first one that I'm like ready to go. And then after the first night, I think I slept 10 hours. So like I didn't I didn't sleep very well the few days that I was getting ready to travel. But I think once you get there and through the first competition, which I mean it matters, but also it's okay if you're not maybe I don't know. I'm pretty sure I will make it through. So if I'm a little tired, probably I'll do okay. But mostly it's just kind of pushing through the first day or two, and then I can sleep pretty well.
do you arrive a couple of days before the competition, or just?
Yeah, I get into Madrid Tuesday morning, and I'm meeting a friend, and then we'll take the train that afternoon. So,
Oh yeah,
not super in advance, but it's hard to take so much time off, and
yeah, it is a
but
challenge.
it is nice. Yeah, it is nicer with the days so spread out. Having the extra day, you can really ease into it and just kind of, I don't know, have time to get your schedule on track without having to get there a day early to do it.
Oh yeah.
So,
Now I remember, like, I traveled back and forth between the US a couple of years ago, multiple times because I worked there a little bit. And basically my experience was I was flying from like basically from this time that we are now to New York. So it was not as much difference, but it was still like a 6 hour earlier or something. And I always experienced that like flying there was somehow easier than flying back. So like flying there when it's earlier was somehow easier to cope with because I would just basically take a nap the next day. And then when traveling here, when it's all of a sudden much later, it was always much more of a challenge. I don't know how it is with you, but that was
yeah,
experience.
I think just the nice thing is I land at 6:30 in the morning, so it's easier to kind of push through the day. Whereas if you land at night and you get into your hotel at midnight, it's really hard to kind of calm down and try to fall asleep. So
Yeah.
hopefully that'll work in my favor. So
Yeah. Well, air travel is always like a challenge. I'm going to be flying pretty late. Like I think I arrive late at night on Monday and I still have the train to take. I think I will get there in like early on Tuesday. But yeah, something like that. It's air travel. At least you can sleep in the plane. What I usually think to myself.
yeah.
Um
Yes. And then
Yeah, and then basically you have answered the other question that I have already seen in the chat is whether you would want the picture like this to turn up at the Worlds or not.
I would love it.
And yeah, you were already saying that you love this type of puzzle. So
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's yeah.
The only kind of puzzle I really don't like are gradient puzzles. Yeah. I like photography. I like a busy puzzle like this. I'm not a fan of just pure gradients because they're so fast, and I'm not really, I mean, yeah, I think I like to do the edge. I like to kind of think a little bit before I start. And with a gradient puzzle, you just have to like dump the pieces and it feels like start assembling them. And so I'm less excited about a gradient, but I don't know that they'll have that. Yeah. Ravensburger doesn't do just like pure gradients. They usually mix it up a little bit. So hopefully that's okay.
The only really gradient ones that I can think of are these crypt puzzles. I'm not sure if you have had those in your hand already. Like those that have like the very weird, like distinct shape of the pieces. And then from that, they maybe have some like very pure gradients. But other than that, I can't think of any either. Also, if I think of like what you have explained about like the pick and place method, that also doesn't work as well with the gradient because it can like, go into an entire row.
Yeah, I've done a couple of the gradients, the solid ones, not the rainbow, and I've had enough of that.
Yeah.
I
think
didn't like
you do one or two of them and then that's enough. I also had two of them, the gold and the black, and that's it. No more. No, thank you.
And so, yeah.
So, Andrea, I had a question for you. Since you've been to different competitions, obviously the nationals and the worlds, and also some regional ones, like there will be some people who will be attending the worlds, and that will be their first in-person competition. What advice would you give to them? Like, what things should they bring with them? How should they prepare? Like, what things on the day that you think, oh, I wish I had done that, or I should have thought of that. What advice
Well,
would you give?
one thing I've been reminding people is like, once you leave the house, you probably can't find an outlet. So find a portable charger for your AirPods and your phone, because there's so many people in the dome. So I've, have my portable chargers because I need to have my music. If my AirPods ran out, I would be bummed, or if your phone ran out. For the US people, you need to start making sure you have all your adapters and things like that, because that's not something I thought about early enough last time. I was kind of scrambling with my suitcase to get all that together. We're also bringing things like Ziploc bags to put your pieces in, so when you pack them up, they don't fall around and get lost in the shuffle, and you can kind of stack boxes inside of each other if you have them carefully sealed.
Sorry, so to save space, you take them out of the boxes.
Yeah, you can, like a 1000 Ravensburger, you can put the pieces into a bag, and then put a 500 inside of that bag, inside of that box, and then either put the pieces like in a pouch of your suitcase, or sometimes you, depending on the box and how you do them, so you don't have to put I mean, you can, in one 1000 piece box, you could have 2 puzzles. So I bought a duffel bag on Amazon last year that would fit 5 1000 pieces, and I was able to put 10 puzzles in it because I could put the 500s inside, and then the extra pieces that didn't fit in the box in a Ziploc bag in the little side pocket. So it was heavy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good point, because well, especially for those coming from outside of Europe and have further ways to travel, and of course limited baggage space. I think that's a really good idea, because one of the things is you are going to collect puzzles. Like, how many puzzles did you come home with last time?
Well, I had my daughter was going back to school. She was in boarding school, and so I had to bring both of our puzzles, which was a lot.
So you got expert at packing puzzles for maximum space.
I don't know. And then we both made the podium twice, and I made the podium 3 times. So then we were gifted like another 3 or 4 puzzles. So I had a lot. I did give a few away, but it was a lot. Still haven't actually done all of them, because there were quite a few 3000 piece puzzles, and I haven't had a table that I could do a 3000 piece puzzle on.
True. So if you make the podium, you might come back with a 3000 piece puzzle as well, which just takes up even more space. So keep that in mind. So empty space to bring back the competition puzzles.
Yeah. And I did buy, I measured the size of a 1000 piece puzzle and found, I don't have it here, but an inexpensive duffel bag from Amazon, and put it in my suitcase so I didn't have to carry the bag. So, you can kind of have it ready to go depending on what you come home with or what you want to carry. The square boxes don't fit quite as easily. You can't stack them in anything. So it sounds like people suspect we'll get at least 1 round puzzle. So
yeah, but that's a really good point. Yeah, so the Ziploc bags as well. So there's reusable plastic bags to put the puzzles in, not only so that they're not loose in the box, but that you could even pack them in your luggage without the box. I think that's a really good point. And what you said about the chargers as well, of course, because many people will be taking a lot of pictures, videos, using it as a timer. Maybe some people are filming themselves for time lapses, and you want to have your own portable power source. Otherwise, everyone will be like waiting around with a few sockets to do a charge. So that's
Yeah.
a very good point. And of course, for those coming outside of Europe, or I haven't even checked if Spain has the same outlet as Germany. That's a very good point. I'm gonna have to check that. Check that you have the right what is it, adapter for your electronics. Yeah, no, that's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just the
any
little things that,
little things can become big things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, any
Um,
other comment you want to tell us about preparing for the Worlds, or what somebody might who's going there for the first time should know?
just to have fun. It's so fun. I think that was my first competition last year, that I attended in person. And so, well, other than a little one at a bar, but, it kind of changed. Like, I met so many people that I keep in touch with all the time, even like on this chat, or, people writing that I've met, Kiara, or Hannah, or other people that now I know. And it's just fun. I think it changes your life kind of by having made these connections and being part of a community. So, yeah, just to enjoy it and have fun.
Yeah, no, that's really good. And because I just had a moment, like I did some really hard puzzles recently, and I was kind of like, oh, I have to train for the Worlds. I have to train for the Worlds. I have to test myself. And then I did a fast puzzle, expecting I was going to then beat my previous time, and then I was actually slower, and I was just like, I'm not having fun right now. Like, and then the next night I came back, and my one of my daughters was doing a Disney puzzle, and my other daughter was doing an anime puzzle. And then I just sat down with them, and I was puzzling with them, and I was just like, this is so much fun. Like, sometimes you just need to like switch it up and remember puzzling is fun. Like, it's not like, oh, I have to
Yeah.
it's not boot camp, it's a fun hobby.
Yeah.
I actually had a very similar thing just recently. I started one of the puzzles that I got for myself for like specifically training for the Worlds, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to like speed run this. And then 20 minutes into it, I was like, nah, I don't want to. And then I just continued and called my mom instead and had like a long chat with her while I just completed the puzzle. So it's like, yeah, it is a fun free time activity, or it's supposed to be.
Yeah. I think, Michelle, I've heard that, mother-daughter pairs make some of the best pairs. And I think it would be fun someday to just have like a competition of mothers and daughters, or like, a parent and child, because I know more and more people that are puzzling with their daughters now. So it's kind of fun to see people have that connection. I don't know. I think it was kind of a special event for us.
Well, my only experience with pairs puzzling has been with my daughter, and so when we had our event in Trefl, we had everybody did the same puzzle for pairs, but we had a second category for the prizes for adult and child partners. So if one partner was 15 years or under, they were in a separate category for prizes. So we had like 2 podiums, and that was also to encourage younger people to get involved, and a lot of kids puzzled with their parents. So yeah, that was really fun. So yeah, I did notice that you puzzled with your daughter, and I thought that was amazing. So maybe one day we'll do that again. So thank you very much for your time, Andrea, and yeah, excellent result, and we look forward to seeing you either at the next competition or in person at the Worlds.
Okay. Could I say hi to my Aunt Lynette, because she's watching this?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
She's my biggest fan. Thanks.
Is she writing a comment on the?
She probably is.
I think I have seen her on writing comments in support of you. So it was probably her then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Great, thanks. Bye.
Bye.
In the meantime, there's a lot of discussion going on in the YouTube chat. Some people didn't enjoy this puzzle at all. What I didn't notice at all is that someone actually finished, like didn't want to finish.
Yeah, so somebody did write that they're giving up. unfortunately, they did have 45 minutes. So I'm really glad that everyone's here who's still sticking around. Don't give up. You know, we still have 20 minutes. A lot can happen in 20 minutes. And we see a lot of people have got big blocks now, big sections being connected. So stay with it. And yeah, mental challenge, mental toughness. You know, you might get a puzzle at the Worlds where you do want to give up, but you got to keep on going.
Yes. And then what I can see, someone is saying, lesson from today is beige is your enemy, apparently.
Well, I started with beige.
And then only now I can see that there was a question for Andrea, but I think she basically explained that, which was what was the hardest part of the image and whether she did something wrong and she would do differently the next time. But she was basically saying she was doing the pick and place method and basically doing blocks of color. So I don't think that was really a hardest part. At least she didn't really mention it. And then Puzzling Lamb just finished the puzzle that she started when the competition started with 129, the Gallison Paper Paradise. Congratulations. And she would have preferred the one in the competition.
So Lena just advised me that we still have 19 people left. So we started with over 60. So I think we had about 65 people. And we still have 19 left. So yeah, keep on going, everyone. Still a lot of time, just over 18 minutes left.
Yes, and then Lynette writes, I am your biggest fan. I guess that was directed for Andrea. And we have caught up to the chat.
So on the screen right now, we have Dietmar from Germany, Annelies from Belgium, Maria from Sweden, Uta from Germany, Laura from the UK, and Liz from Germany. So yeah, everyone here. I mean, Uta is very close, only just maybe 15 pieces left perhaps. Dietmar is also going to finish within the time.
Yes, there are people who are pretty close to being finished still.
So I noticed Annalise has turned to her, she's doing her puzzle sideways. I wonder if that's for space management or if she just always does portrait puzzles sideways.
In a way, it makes sense because then you don't have to reach as far for like the top sections. Less hand movement.
So there's Maria's cat now, has found its place on the pile of pieces. Yeah, it was something I noticed before during one of the interviews. Patrick finished his puzzle and then afterwards he was like kind of doing like smoothing it out. It does have this nice feel on this puzzle and he kind of like spread out his hands and like, yeah. Is there a term for that? Like when you're like the satisfied swipe of the completed puzzle?
If there isn't, there should be.
Yeah.
There's no word that I know for it, but I do that as well.
The satisfaction swipe. Yeah. Yeah, so
it's like double tapping the pieces that you like manage to like squeeze into like one little gap and then you double tap it. It's a thing.
Yeah, so for those who did the puzzle and who are on the live stream, what did you think of the feel of the puzzle? Did you notice a difference to the regular Trefls? So previously I had only had some regular Trefls and I wasn't so impressed with the quality, I have to say. And then I remember watching a video from Jeanette where she did like her favorite puzzles, her favorite puzzle brands, and she said that Trefl was her favorite, and I was like really surprised because I was like, no, they just kind of fall apart. And yeah, but obviously, you know, puzzle brands can have different editions and improve their quality. Even at the Tria competition, I was talking to someone about Schmidt, and I said, oh yeah, they just have such great quality. And they said, yeah, the new ones have, but the old ones were not always like that. So those who have been around a bit longer know the different editions of the brands and their qualities. But I really like this one. They do have a nice feel. Yeah, something I don't like about Trefl is the plastic bag inside just feels really crackly, and I don't know why they choose that material, but it's just the super crackly, tough plastic. There's like a perforated line, and you kind of really got to like rip it apart.
Well, if you remember, there was the video that went viral from Wiki Puzzles. That was this competition where it was. And that's exactly this puzzle bag that is just like, it's this bad, cheap, I think recycled plastic that is like a little, like flimsy and not nice, and it doesn't want to rip, and then all of a sudden it rips very much, and that's when her bag exploded.
Yeah, it does have kind of like this cheap feel to it, so I don't like that. Because also we have this really nice Disney 9,000 piece puzzle which we used in Tria, and you know, it has such a nice box and beautiful image, and then I open up this big box, and then there's these 6 plastic bags, and as I took out each bag it was like crackle, 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 and I was just like, surely they could have chosen a bit better quality plastic bag for the experience.
Well, the thing is with the, like, I don't mind the plastic bag in it, because if they like it, if it reduces the overall price of the puzzle and the pieces themselves are still good quality, then I don't really mind. Like, if they cut costs with the plastic bag, then I don't really mind. I don't know. I do like the quality very much of it. Like, the pieces are a little bit thicker, and I think that with Trefl, it depends on which like price range you get. Like, yeah, there's the older and the cheaper ones that are usually like these flimsy, kind of halfway falling apart things. In the meantime, my dog wants to be picked up. Yes. So like they have like those flimsier, cheaper, not that good fit pieces, and then there's the better quality ones that are I really like Trefl as well. It's also one of my favorite brands.
Yeah, I think they really have really nice designs. I like a lot of the images. They're a lot very fun and pretty ones.
Yeah, there are some comments about who thought what of the pieces. Rika liked the feels of the pieces, but the fit was pretty tight. Yeah, it feels kind of sticky. Yeah, Claudia didn't like the finish, but you can't slide them over each other into the gaps. So yeah, they stick to each other as well, like the kind of sticky thing. Yeah, and it's hard to open the box as well. It's a tight fit.
Yeah, so did we have somebody else lined up for an interview tonight?
We had Rika, who I can see in the chat still. She's waiting around still.
All right, then I'll bring Rika in.
Hello.
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 Yeah, so what was your reaction for this puzzle tonight?
I do like the speculating game, so I had talked with some people and basically figured out it's this brand, and I had checked the pictures, and like I was kind of hoping it would be this one because I really liked the picture, although I knew it would be really, really tricky as it was. But yeah, I like the picture.
I'm going to leak the information that she actually sent me the picture yesterday, and she was like, "Did you have this puzzling competition before?" Yeah.
Yeah, not to like, because I know Michelle doesn't share the picture of the puzzles, but because I remember seeing posts about the Hungarian competition, but I couldn't really find pictures anywhere, so I wanted to just check that I remember correctly that it was used in the competition before.
Yes.
Yeah, I just want to make a comment about that because I know, I think Amelia said that last time that she was surprised that I picked it was on the live stream of Tria where there was the Cherry Patsy puzzle with a bicycle, and somebody said, "Oh yeah, hasn't this been in a competition before?" Yes, it was in Latvia. And then Amelia said, yeah, a bit surprising Michelle would pick this if this had already been in a competition. I do have to order my puzzles like months in advance. So often I order a puzzle, for example, like also the Star Wars puzzle. I ordered that the following week. It was used in 2 competitions. And also I'd already ordered the bicycle puzzle before I had seen it in the Latvian competition. So I do try to, keep it separate, but sometimes it's just unavoidable.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
in a way, there was a pretty low chance that someone who participated at the Latvian competition would also turn up in 3 years. So, like, if you have like a big geographical difference between like the competitions, then it's not necessarily an issue that it has been used before. At least that's what I would think. But an online competition, it of course doesn't count. But yeah, live competitions, it might be not that big of a problem.
yeah, and I knew this, that you have to order them quite a lot earlier. So I just like kind of want to see if I remembered correctly, basically. And I knew there were 6 options, which is less than with some brands. So
Oh yeah.
just to look at the pictures a little bit. I don't think it really helps me that much knowing what the options are, though.
You are someone though who is like getting very, very prepared for competitions. That's something that I have been experiencing as well, because we're going to be on the same team. We're going to be competing together at the Worlds in teams, and like we also had like meetings online, because like all 4 of us are from different countries, so we don't have a chance of like meeting up for actual practice. So we have had like online meetings where we would like speak strategy and go through everything. So it's actually very, very nice that you have like the analytical, statistical thinking, and you have actually also like gone into the rules very, very detailed. That you shared a lot.
Yeah, because like since I got like really into speed puzzling basically earlier this year, I've seen in videos and like several places people commenting about the country rule and like what's the effect. And I think it's really like sparked even more when there was some time ago in one of these Euro Jigsaw Jams, Michelle and Jim, I think, were talking about the country rule a little bit, like what's is it fair to have this? So I was like, well, what's the effect actually? So I went and looked at the stats, like pulled out the results from last year and like figured out like who had benefited from the country rule and who had not. And like it was surprisingly few people that actually got through with the country rule, and not like, because there's people who were the first of their country, but they still were within the top 60, for example, who get through. So they're like, they benefit from the country rule, but they also, even if there was no country rule, they would have gotten through. So it was quite few people who actually, like, just like most preliminary rounds in individual, like maybe 3 or 4 people. So that was interesting, and it also kind of caught me, although then this year is very different because we have like double the number of people competing. So
yeah, it is something that I have like been thinking about, is that most of the results that we have from like previous years, it most probably says not that much about what's going to go on this year, simply because we have like so many people entering. Or has the competition already reached 1,300 people?
I'm not sure. I think the individual is bit under 1,200 now. I'm not 100% sure, but like it's really close to having the maximum number of participants from the individual. But I've actually looked into a little bit like about who is competing this year, more than just like what is listed on the website. And there's quite a lot of people, especially in teams, who do not participate in the individual competition, especially from Spain. So there's quite a few teams or people who come just for the teams, or maybe for teams and pairs, but don't come for the individual competition. So that was also interesting to see.
Yeah, I found that interesting as an organizer because I assumed like people would want to do all of them, or maybe just one. And at our Trio event, I realized that a lot of people, they don't feel confident enough to do a solo challenge, so they just feel more comfortable puzzling in a group, or they just want to have the fun part of puzzling as a group, and somehow it's a bit too much stress or too much pressure to do it alone. And that was kind of a realization for me that, yeah, not because I only came from the solo, and then now I've kind of got my daughter to do a pair with me. Whereas other people come from the team experience and have to kind of branch out to get to the solo competition. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I actually have found that even though I like doing solo competitions too, but I think I like even more doing it with a pair or with a team. I haven't had that many chances to compete with a team, so I'm really excited about Worlds and having a team there. But I've also started to talk with people like after Worlds. I'll try to gather a local team that we can practice together and compete together too, because that. There is some really nice that you can communicate with someone while doing the puzzle. I think, like talking, okay, I'm doing this. I'm struggling. I'm looking for these pieces. So, because when you're doing on your own, then you're the only one looking at the pieces, and it's only up to you.
Oh yeah.
And then you click the done by accident way too early and drop pieces and stuff like that.
Yeah. Like I also would think that it also comes from like personality type of like whether you're confident enough to like immediately go solo into a competition, or like, yeah, like how much of a performance background you have, if you know what I mean, if you have ever had to do like music or dance or sports or whatever where you already had to like perform yourself, or if it's like friends pulling you into it and like you yourself like get the puzzle bug and then go into solo yourself.
But I think it's also like what is available. Like for example, in Finland, when I first heard about speed puzzling, there was just these online solo competitions. I later heard that there's also like one team competition, like very small one had happened a couple of times, but like it's that was the only option. So that's also why I got into solo competing instead of like pairs or teams.
Yeah, I'm one of those people that went into solo immediately. I started that way, especially that where I live, there's nobody that I can really puzzle with. And then once I was at competitions, I was always like, since I'm here, I want to use all the chances to puzzle. And then I signed up for literally everything. So every time I go to a competition, I try and find myself a pair or a team, or like I want to participate in everything. And through that, I had to realize that I'm much more of the pair and team person than the solo. Like I enjoy it way more. And it also like takes so much stress away that like, especially in the team, like you were saying, like you can be just like, I can't deal with this part anymore. Can someone take over? And then switch with someone else. Like in Trier, for example, with the bicycle, I don't like bicycles. Like I don't like bicycles in pictures at all because they confuse me every single time. And then the Trier competition, I literally completed everything in the puzzle before I started doing the bicycle, just because I don't like it. And like the lines, they confuse me every time. So that would have been nice as a pairs puzzle.
Yeah, me. I would have been happy to do a bicycle, so we would have been good pair in that puzzle.
Yeah, so just to interrupt. So we have 1.5 minutes left. We have 13 people still puzzling, and it looks like Mary is very close. Maya is very close to finishing. So yeah, do your best for the last 90 seconds, and hopefully we get a few more finishes.
It's the excitement of the last few seconds.
So 1 minute. So who we still have left: Ekaterina, Kirsty, Mary, Maya, Liz, Anna, Laura, Annalise, Kirsten, Marie, Johanna. Maya can do it. So 30 seconds.
And 3
Go,
pieces
Maya.
left. Go. And
And then she's got the last piece in.
very good.
Maya is
Well done,
done.
Maya.
Congratulations.
15 seconds.
Oh, the relief.
Oh, stop. Okay, sorry. I looked away for a minute. Stop. The 2 hours is up.
I was about to say that you're the only one who can see the time.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, so yeah, well done, everyone. Thanks for sticking with it, even though it was probably not your favorite puzzle. You can go ahead and count your leftover pieces and then write that in the chat. So, Rika, just to recap, for the country rule from your results from last year, relying on the country rule is not going to have much effect. You really need to get in based on your time
Yeah.
to qualify for the time.
And I mean, it's more people competing this year, but I also think it will. I wouldn't be surprised if it's quite similar this year too. That you still have to be quite quick to, because there is countries that even if you're fastest, because there's more countries that benefit from the country rule, that like some fastest people from certain countries will not get in if they are too slow, basically. So you still have to be quite quick probably to benefit from that.
Yeah, so even if you are one of a few people from your country, a handful of people, it's still, yeah, don't rest on your laurels base. You have to qualify based on time.
Yeah. You might like if you get lucky and you're just like a little bit below the top 60, for example, you might benefit from it. But if you are in the bottom of the list, you probably won't.
Yeah. Any other comments from what you noticed about your from your analysis of the rules? Anything else that stood out to you that you'd like to share?
Well, I did count for this year like how likely you are to qualify through each round. And basically the easiest will be based on the number of people signed up who are registered so far. Like easiest will be preliminary rounds for pairs, and the hardest will be semi-final for pairs. So it's both easiest and hardest. So, but yeah, it's that was quite interesting, and it's pretty hard also to get through the solo preliminary rounds. So it's about 30% of people who will get through. So if you don't get through that, you can still be like the faster half of your group and still not qualify. So remember that you can still, and that's what I'm telling myself too, that you can be pretty good speed puzzler and still not qualify to the semifinal because there is so many people.
Yeah. No, that's very good. Well, I hear you're leaving soon, so you're starting your trip a bit earlier.
Yeah, we are leaving in about a week and a half because we are traveling with train from Finland to Spain, and we're stopping in a couple of places on the way. So,
what is going to be your itinerary? Where are you going to be stopping?
we have longer stops on the way to Valladolid in Bordeaux and then in San Sebastian in Spain. So more towards close to Spain or in Spain, because that's somewhere we probably won't go in a couple of years. So, but for example, Germany, we have visited before together, and so that's easier for us to get to Germany than to Spain.
Yeah, that is true. Now, I am planning a trip to Finland, and I know that like by car it's about 2 days. Like if you are realistically driving, it's about 2 days to get to Finland, to like specifically to Helsinki. So with the train, it's going to be a pretty big trip. That's going to be pretty exciting.
Yeah, we're taking it slower on the way to Spain, but then on the way back, I think it's a bit over 2 days because we're going back really quickly from Barcelona, where we go after Valladolid for a couple of days. So
Yeah, so thank you very much, Frika. Yeah, so we'll see you soon, live
see you.
in person. I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
that because you've helped me on so many jigsaw jams that,
Yeah.
be good to meet in person. Yeah,
Yes.
so we'll see you soon. Thank
See you. Bye.
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 So for those who are participating for the first time, I just want to remind you that when you are finished, just count how many pieces are left. Johanna, I'm not sure if you counted how many pieces are left.
Yes, I have still 165 pieces left.
Okay, can you write that as a message in the chat?
Yes,
Yep.
I do it.
Good, because then we'll use that later for the ranking as well. So I think everybody else has done that, and some people are finishing off their puzzles in the meantime. All right, so thank you, Fruzy and Lena, who are helping out tonight. So
How was it, Lena?
It was pretty hard tonight because a lot of people finished with the white pieces on white tables. So I couldn't really tell how many pieces are left until I pinned the video. So that was quite challenging, especially in the middle when a lot of people finished at the same time, to see who's ahead and who's not. But other than that, it went pretty well, I guess.
yeah, we did have a lot. Yeah, we had over 60 participants. So yeah, we had a lot of fast people, but I think this one reminds me of Misfit Toys because we had a lot of fast people finishing a bit lower, and some people we didn't expect, like Arcadius, who hasn't placed in the so highly before. So I'm really glad you were giving me those tips because we were still like towards like T or M or something, and you were like, Arcadius is racing ahead. Like, okay, he's now right at the opposite end. But yeah, that was amazing to see him and have a new mixture of people on a new person in the podium today. Yeah, well, thank you very much. I think everyone has said how many pieces they have left, and yeah, so I will end the live stream here. And yeah, thank to everyone who's been watching us and commenting. Yeah, we've had a lot of discussion in the live stream, and we're really happy to have you with us. And we'll see you next time. So thanks, and the next live stream is on Sunday.
Thank you
Thanks,
very much.
Michael, for this nice competition. It was a very difficult puzzle.